Hi, and welcome to the Shoot from the Heart podcast with me, Diane Bell. If you want to write a script, make a movie, or quite simply live an abundant and creatively fulfilled life, you are in the right place. Each week I'll share with you tips, techniques, and real-world information that will inspire and empower you on your path. Thank you so much for joining me. I am rooting for you all the way. Let's do this. Hi there. Hi, beautiful and amazing screenwriters, filmmakers, and creative souls. Welcome to episode 43 of the Shoot from the Heart podcast. 43? What is that? Hi there. I should have pinned my comment before I started, so I'm going to do that now. I'm recording the podcast live on Instagram, and we're going to be talking about 5 things that could stop you from writing your screenplay by the end of the year, which is a big topic right now, because if you know me, you will know I am planning to write a new screenplay by the end of this year. I hope you're going to join me. If you want to join me, if you would like to write a screenplay by the end of this year, and really, why wouldn't you? What a cool way it would be to end the year, right? To write a new screenplay. So if you want to write a new screenplay by the end of this year, join me, dianebell.com/challenge. This is the end of year screenwriting challenge. It's officially open. I am so excited. So if you want to do this with me, get in there. Basically, how it's going to work is once you sign up, you will be invited to join an exclusive Facebook group, and I will be going live every week in that group, sharing exactly what is happening in my journey and what is going on and how I'm overcoming obstacles and all the things. And I really don't know how it's going to go. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to write a screenplay by the end of the year. At the moment, I think I'm crazy. I juggle so many things as it is. I homeschool my 2 kids. They are 8 years old and 3 years old. So I am with them all day, every day. I'm also obviously teaching online courses and have a lot of commitments around that. I do the podcast. There's just a lot of things already happening and my time is already pretty pressed. So I'm sort of like, and now I'm going to write a screenplay. I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I hope you're willing to give it a shot too. Go to dianebell.com/challenge. It is open. Registration is open. Be the first person to sign up. That would be amazing. And we will get this going. And as I said, the way it will work is you will get into the Facebook group. And in that Facebook group, I will do a live every single week, updating where I am and what's going on. And I'll be very honest about what's happening for me. And I think that will help you. I think that will be something that will help you in your path to writing a screenplay. You will also obviously be able to share whatever's going on in that group. And I'm imagining there's going to be a ferocious energy for us all to getting our screenplays finished. And we're all going to hold each other accountable. And it's just going to be a big screenwriting party. So in addition to that, when you join, there is the chance that you will win a one-to-one consultation with me. So if you are interested in that, anyone who registers between now and November 1st will be in the running for that. So at the end of the session, once you've written your screenplay, I would read it and give you my feedback on it. That's normally $997. It's normally $1,000 basically to get a one-on-one consultation with me like that. So it's an amazing opportunity to get that. You might win it. Who knows? There is also an option to join. I've made it like 2 tiers so that there's one which is, accessible to everybody and you can join it and you will get the Facebook group live and you will get the weekly sessions with me and you'll get all of that stuff and the chance to win the one-on-one consultation. But there's also a different level in which you will also, in addition to that, get a monthly Zoom chat with me, which is obviously different to a Facebook Live because in a Zoom chat, you'll be able to talk to me. So it'll be us in a group chatting and you'll get direct coaching from me. So you'll get a monthly Zoom chat, including one in November. So you'll get 4 monthly Zoom chats. Also, if you get that higher tier access, you will get access to my course, Sell Your Screenplay. So many people ask me about this. And so many people are always like, "Hey, Diane, my problem isn't writing them, it's selling them." This is your way to get Sell Your Screenplay. So you write a screenplay by the end of the year and you get the course, Sell Your Screenplay. So by next year, you can be selling your screenplay and just having an awesome time. So if that sounds interesting to you, dianebell.com/challenge. I want to write a screenplay by the end of the year, and I hope you will join me. The topic for today's chat is that we are going to be talking about what could stop you from writing a screenplay by the end of this year. And I wanted to just like make a list for myself. And this is like a personal kind of list. What could stop me from writing my screenplay by the end of the year? So the first thing that I thought of, and the thing that I am most afraid of right now, setting out on the journey of writing a new screenplay, is a lack of time. It is something that's, I mean, it's concrete and it's real on one hand, but I know that it's also a block that I create on another hand. And I would invite you to think about it too, because you might also say, I really want to write a screenplay, but I just don't have the time. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that fear right now. What could stop me is lack of time. As I said before, I'm homeschooling 2 children, small children. They're out of the house right now, which is kind of a miracle. I'm hardly ever home alone. So I have these 2 small children that I do spend a lot of time with every single day. I obviously have commitments to the students in my courses. I do Zoom calls with them. I do group coaching with them, etc. So there's that, and reading the Facebook messages. I get tons of emails every day. You know, all that stuff actually right now fills my time. I don't really have much spare time at all. So right now I'm thinking, I'm not really sure when the screenwriting is going to happen. So I am afraid of this lack of time. I also know from experience, and I'm just going to put this to you, if you are worried that a lack of time would stop you from writing a screenplay by the end of this year, there's 2 things to say about it. One is that a lot of screenwriting can actually happen when you are not in front of your computer. And I feel like a lot of the heavy lifting is done when you're away from the computer. What I mean by this is I can be looking after my kids. I can be walking my dog. I can be at the park with my children. And although I'm present to them and I'm with them, part of my brain is just like working on the screenplay. And I always say to people, like, the ideal situation when you're writing a first draft of a new screenplay is that you invite it into your subconscious and you get to the point where your subconscious is doing the hard work for you. You go to sleep thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. You do the dishes thinking about it. You have a shower thinking about it. You walk your dog thinking about it. You play with your children thinking about it. Like, no matter what you're doing, you're thinking about your screenplay. And what will happen if you adopt this approach is that then when you actually have time to sit down and write, and you might only have half an hour, I am anticipating that I will be lucky if I have half an hour, and it will be really dependent on me getting up early in the morning. My plan for overcoming this problem of lack of time is to set my alarm clock an hour earlier, so get up at 4:30 instead of 5:30. That's my plan. I'm not sure that it will always work because I'm human, and sometimes I'll be tired and I'll just be like, I just need the extra hour of sleep. That will be part of it. But I also know that if I can just even get half an hour, if I've been spending all that other time just working on it in the background, that half hour in front of my laptop is really, really meaningful. I can get a lot done. So lack of time is something that could stop you from writing your screenplay, but it doesn't have to. And definitely over the course of these weeks till the end of the year, I will be like letting you, I will be talking to you about how I'm dealing with that. So number 2, what could stop you from writing your screenplay? And I'd love if you're here live, if you have any thoughts. What I'm asking you, like, what could stop you if you want to write a screenplay by the end of the year? What do you think could stop you from achieving that goal? I'd love to hear your thoughts. For me, number 2 is lack of preparation. Again, I know from experience that if I haven't done the groundwork properly for writing a screenplay, when I come to write it, it can take a lot longer than just a couple of months. And so it's really worth doing the preparation before you actually start writing the screenplay. What do I mean by preparation? That I've done all the character work, that I know my characters inside and out, that I have outlined most of the screenplay. Ideally, I've outlined all of it, that I have it all outlined. For me personally, with this situation, I am not anticipating having completely outlined it before November 1st, which is the official kickoff date of the end of year screenwriting challenge. But I am anticipating having done some of it, and then I'll continue to do it after November 1st. So lack of preparation is definitely a big one. The other things that you might want to be thinking about are just like the mood, the tone, like really having everything excavated out so that when you get to the point of actually writing it, when you write fade in your final draft document and you actually start writing the screenplay, you are prepared. You've really done the groundwork. And that's a big thing. Right now, personally, on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 was like ultra prepared and 1 was like not prepared at all, I'd say I'm about a 3 for this one. And partly it's because we still haven't actually managed to finalize an agreement of the life rights of the lady that I want to write the screenplay about. I'm sort of thinking, oh my gosh, if somehow it doesn't work out, I do have another screenplay that I've wanted to write and I'll write that instead. I'm hoping that we figure this out. It's always a thing when you get lawyers involved. My manager is negotiating it for me, but she has an attorney, and if you can ever do things without attorneys and managers and lawyers involved, it's just always faster and easier. Because of course we're having some sort of, there's always, no, well, we're not sure about this and we think there should be more guarantee of this and so on. So we're still in that zone for me, which is a little bit unsettling. I would like to have had it settled and be really done with research at the moment, but I'm not. So that's okay. So lack of preparation is definitely something that I feel could stop me in the next couple of months from writing a screenplay. Number 3, I wrote down perfectionism. Now, perfectionism for me is not a big issue, actually. I think it's for a lot of people, but it's not a huge issue for me. I'm pretty well practiced at just like allowing myself to write rubbish. I'm pretty well practiced at knowing that whatever I put down on the day is not the final product, and it's just a question of getting it down. But that being said, I can be victim definitely to just feeling like, oh, this just isn't good enough. And what's the point? It kicks in at that point. So I'm definitely going to be on guard for that. And I know that that will be a theme in our sessions within the challenge. So if you join the challenge and you're part of those weekly Facebook Lives, I'm sure that that is something that will come up. That feeling of what I'm writing just isn't good enough. And so, actually there's no joy in it. That you start to feel disheartened because you feel it's not up to the standard that you want it to be. And I know that's something that you do battle when you're writing a first draft. So that's something that I will be working with personally. And that could stop me because I know it can derail you when you get that feeling of like, oh my goodness, it's just not good enough. And you don't want to show up to the page. It's like a compound effect. So I'm going to be on guard for that for sure. And I hope you will be too if you want to write a screenplay by the end of this year. The 4th thing I wrote down is a lack of motivation. I think lack of motivation arises for all of us when we sort of feel like, what's the point? I'm not going to be able to sell this anyway, or who's going to be interested in this, or, nobody cares. And so you lose motivation along the path of writing it, and then you just give up. And I just want to say about this, this is one of the reasons that I created this challenge, is so that there is motivation, so that you have other people saying to you, do this, come on, you can do it, we're going to do it, we are going to finish. I think actually we'll probably have to set up a situation where someone gets a prize for being the first person to finish or something. I'm not sure how we would monitor it. It would just have to be an honesty thing. But, lack of motivation can definitely be something that will stop you from writing your screenplay. Being part of an accountability group, I think, can really mitigate that in a great sense. Also, as I mentioned with this challenge, you do have the option of signing up and sell your screenplay. And I think that could provide you masses of motivation because you just go, okay, I'm not just planning to write my screenplay. I'm going to write the screenplay by the end of the year. I'm going to revise it and get it amazing in the next couple of months of the next year. And then I'm going to sell it. I'm going to make money from it. And I think if you set that powerfully as your intention from day one, you might find good motivation throughout. But you have to have a strong why. There has to be something that's really driving you, or you could be stopped. Personally, I feel pretty motivated to write this script. I think the fact that I've made it public that I'm doing it, I feel like I would be so ashamed if I didn't now. So I think this is a thing too. If you join the challenge, the end of year screenwriting challenge, I feel like then you will get a good dose of motivation because now you've invested something in it and you have to see it through. And you're going to be in the Facebook group and you're going to introduce yourself to me and you're going to tell me what you're writing. And then you have to stick to it because I'm going to hold you accountable. And we can't all be ashamed of ourselves at the end of the year. We have to be triumphant. We have to create the story for ourselves that we set ourselves this challenge that we're going to write a screenplay by the end of the year. And my God, we did it. You know, even though we're homeschooling, even though there's a pandemic going on, even though we were like struggling to pay our rent, even though whatever things are coming up for you right now, we did it. And let's make that our story because that would just be an awesome way to end 2020. And wouldn't it be great if 6 months later we sell the screenplays for a lot of money and the movies get made and everything wonderful comes of it. And we say it all started because I decided I was going to do it, even though the odds were against me, even though it seemed like the most ridiculous thing, even though I didn't think I had a hope in hell, I did it. And I wrote the screenplay and it did happen and it was great. So that's what you want always is the lack of motivation. It's that voice coming at you. And I think if you keep just coming back to that all the time, and that, as I say, is the point of creating this challenge for me, is to create a situation where you are motivated, where you are guided, where you are supported, where you have me cheering you on and all the other people in the group, because I know the energy is going to be phenomenal in it. The fifth thing that could stop you from writing your screenplay, the fifth thing that I wrote down, was just fear. I just wrote, you can see it here. I like write these little notes before I come on. And it's like, number 5, fear. Fear. Fear is always the beast. Fear is always the dragon on the path for me writing a screenplay. I don't know about you guys. I would love to hear if fear comes up for you. Usually when I dig under everything else that could stop me, that sort of like the lack of motivation, the lack of inspiration, the perfectionism, the feeling that I'm not good enough, all these things, the lack of time even, when I just peel back, like what's really going on here? It's just fear. It's always fear. It's fear that I'm not good enough. It's fear that I'm not going to write something great. You start out at the beginning of writing a screenplay with a script is in your peripheral vision. You can't bring it into focus. It's there at the side somewhere. And you just have the sense that it's something great. It's like magic treasure. It's the best, most brilliant treasure ever, but it's not in focus. And then as you start to try to bring it into focus by doing the hard work of actually moving it from being a vague idea in your head to a real script, you know, typically it falls flat. You realize it's just fool's gold. It's never a real treasure initially. And then the fear kicks in, the fear that you're fooling yourself, the fear that you're an idiot, the fear that you're never going to write something good, the fear that it's never going to be good enough, the fear that it's never going to sell, the fear that we're wasting your time, the fear you're going to write the worst script ever, the fear. I mean, all the fear kicks in. That's what happens for me. And it's normal because, as I said, you're seeing this, you have this sense of this treasure, you have this sense of what it is. And initially, it will never match up to that treasure. Like what you're writing will never match up to the treasure. It will always seem like a heap of junk when you first start writing your screenplay. I'm just going to call it. I mean, really, it's never good. You're writing it and you're like, oh, this is awful. This isn't like the treasure. And all the fears come in. Because, of course, you're like, am I just a fool? Are people going to laugh at me? I thought it was treasure, and actually it's a heap of junk from the dollar store. So that fear can always stop you. And that is the fear, that the undercurrent of everything else that will stop you. The practical things are lies. You know, the idea that like you just don't have enough time, as I said, that's really mitigated just by getting up an hour earlier. It's not that hard. Set your alarm clock 1 hour earlier and you're fine. There's no excuse. The thing that will stop me, the thing that will stop you, the thing that will stop any of us is the fear and the belief, the very false belief that we're not going to write something good, that we are somehow inadequate. And that is something, it's a real fear, but it will stop you dead. It will stop you dead. It will stop you in your tracks. And you'll blame something else. I mean, because that's what I have done every time I've started a script and not finished it, or every time I've set the intention of writing a script and not done it, I can tell you right now, truly, truthfully, it's because of the fear. And I make excuses. I always make an excuse. It's just like, oh, it's just not the right time, or it's not the right script, or I just don't, I'm not feeling it, all that kind of stuff. But really, it's just because I'm not willing to do that work to sit down with my fear every day and write in spite of it. I've just decided to let the fear win. So if you do not want to let the fear win, if you really want to write a screenplay by the end of this year, as I do, I really want to do it. I've committed. I've called it out. I've said it. I am writing a screenplay by the end of the year. I am planning to finish it actually before Christmas. I want it done before Christmas. If you are also feeling that, you can do it. I want you right now, put your hand on your heart and say, I am writing my screenplay and I'm going to finish it before Christmas, or I'm going to finish it by the end of the year, whichever it is for you. And just say, I'm getting it done. I am doing it. I hereby commit, and there is nothing that can stop me. And I know the enemies that can come up. I know the dragons that will come to stop me in this path. It's like you are a magical warrior going on this journey. You're going on this adventure, because it's always an adventure writing a screenplay. You never know how it's going to go. So you're this magical warrior, and you've got a name right now for yourself, what you think are the dragons on your path. Who's going to try to stop you? What's going to try and stop you? I just want to have a look in the comments to see if anyone came up with any other things that they feel might stop them. What stops aspiring absolute beginners screenwriters from actually penning their first script? Somebody said. Okay, so first of all, you've never written a screenplay before and you don't know how. I mean, the not knowing how obviously can stop you, because you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And when I wrote my first screenplay, I've told people about this many times. It took me 3 years because of exactly that. It didn't take me till the end of the year. It didn't take me a couple months. It took me 3 years because I didn't know what I was doing. And so that confusion, the doubt, the uncertainty, the not knowing what to do, not knowing if you're doing it right, all that stuff will stop you. That will stop you. For that, the prescription is basically my course, Write Your Screenplay in 8 weeks. I mean, that's what that is designed for. That will teach you how to write a screenplay. If you've never done it before, you have no idea what a screenplay looks like even, that is the course for you. It guides you step by step, lesson by lesson through how to do it. And it will just make it really simple. I mean, everyone that's in there just goes, oh, this just takes out all the confusion and guesswork, and it makes it easy. It really does, because I simplify it. So, I mean, what stops you if you're an absolute beginner, of course, is just like not knowing what to do. There are obviously lots of resources as well on the internet and so forth, and books. Sometimes, though, just always caution people about reading too many books and taking on too much theory. You just need enough knowledge to actually get on and do it. I mean, that's the important thing, is getting something down on the page. Once again, though, if you're an absolute new person to screenwriting, you would want to get into my course, Write Your Screenplay in 8 weeks. I am going to open up registration for that, so that if you want to do this end of year screenwriting challenge, and you also want, though, how to write a screenplay, you will be able to jump in there, and there will be like a discount code. Oh, I meant to mention that. So if you're in Write Your Screenplay in 8 weeks and you want to do also the end of year screenwriting challenge, because you want to be part of those Facebook Lives and you want that added accountability, you will get a discount code. So stand by for that. I'll be emailing it to you as soon as Kurt has set it up. Okay. So that is that. Now let me see the other questions. Did you ever think I have to see more read more books about this argument? This sometimes stops me from writing. I'm not quite sure what you mean by this, but I will say, don't let being a consumer stop you from being a creator. That's a really important thing. So often we think, oh, I'm going to work on my writing. And what we do is we read a book about writing, or we watch some YouTube videos about it or whatever. And as I said, too much information is not necessarily a good thing. To write a good screenplay, in my opinion, you really have to tune out the noise. You have to become like a clear channel for the story that is coming through you. You don't need tons of theory. And in many cases, I feel like a lot of the screenwriting theory that exists now actually hinders our creativity. It tells you, for instance, oh, you have to do this by this page. You have to do that by this page. There's this structure. It has to be like this. There has to be this number of scenes. They have to, you have to have the first plot point here and the second one here. If I approached writing a screenplay like that, I would never write one. I would never write a screenplay. That would kill me. It does kill me. It makes me all kind of like, ugh. It's horrible. For me, creativity is something much more about flow. Telling a good story is something that is innate to most human beings, to all human beings on this planet. I really believe that. It's a natural thing for us to tell a story. And good storytelling is not about this plot point has to happen here and this plot has to happen there. I don't subscribe to that. And I think many of the best movies don't subscribe to it either. all the time in my screenwriting group, it feels like someone's going, I just don't know what, like my first act isn't this and that, and the stakes aren't this, and my hero that, and it's like, don't worry about it. Just focus on the story you want to tell. Like, what is the story that's coming through and what do you want to tell? And get that on the page. And the rest of it is hooey. I mean, it really, really is. So yeah, don't let the screenwriting books, the screenwriting gurus, the screenwriting stuff distract you from the actual writing. And that will be the aim with the screenwriting challenge. It's going to be actually writing. It's not going to be stuff about it. It's just going to be ass kicking and accountability. It's going to be you and me and like facing the page and getting our page count done. And every week going, how many pages did we do? How are we doing? What was stopping us? What was working? What wasn't working? How do we get through the next 10 pages? How do we get through the next 20 pages? And we will just be getting into that and keeping ourselves motivated and inspired until we have a new draft of our screenplay. I am so excited. Registration has opened for the end of year screenwriting challenge. So it's dianebell.com/challenge and sign up, commit, make the commitment to yourself. Say, I am writing my screenplay by the end of the year and nothing can stop me. I really, really hope you can join me for this. I think it's going to be such an epic adventure. I am so excited. You can probably tell. I'm also scared. I'm also like, okay, I'm looking at my 5 things that could stop me. I'm going to pin that probably somewhere that I can see when I'm writing every day, and I'm not going to let them win. I'm not letting them win. I'm going to win this. I'm going to write my screenplay by the end of the year, and hopefully you are to join me. dianebell.com/challenge. I love you. Thanks for joining me today. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.